Today we're having picnic with Dr. Jones. We got a lot of good picnic food today, so it's all nice and cool and refreshing for the springtime. And a few questions for you today. What is your favorite wild fermentation food or beverage? I said, don't let wild throw you. It's just, I put it up there because I'm going to make a reference to this book, Wild Fermentation. So think of any fermented food that you've enjoyed lately, and we're going to be talking about fermentation process. Anybody want to share?
Wine.
Wine is fermented with sugar. My brothers used to make us, we'd pick them, then put them in the big things, seriously, and stomp grapes, pour the sugar, put them in the big barrels, and then how many months later, or the French, how many years later, aged to perfection. Okay, wine. What else?
Sauerkraut.
Sauerkraut. She's got a little German in her. Okay, what else? Any other wonderful fermented foods? Kombucha, the famous one here in Austin, since we've got several startup companies that have kombucha. Buddha's Brew is one of them here in Austin. What else? Will you be thinking about that while I talk about other cultures? We've already mentioned French, the Germans. Think about every single culture in the world probably has found a way to preserve their foods through fermentation process, or at least, when it was fresh, we want to find a way to use this 6 months down the road, right? So today I brought, from my heritage, my mom's cucumbers now turned to pickles, and I actually pickle these with her. So in here you'll find a little piece of garlic, some grape leaves that were picked on the Cibolo Creek, and some of her dill, which comes right out of her garden, probably one of my brother's peppers, so they got a little bite to them. So this process takes 6 months. She writes the date on the top, and then 6 months later you know that it's ready to go, a nice crispy pickle. You'll try it today. And there's no preservatives in that. The brine was made with vinegar, sugar, a little bit of salt, so it was prepared that way, and then it sits in a heat bath, and then the sealing process also is taken care of during that boiling process or heating process. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, and I'll show you, of course this one took 6 months, but I'll show you how to do a quick pickle today with some ginger. And then we will, during the lunch, we'll take a look at seeing if all of your 5 tastes were satisfied today by discussing our 5 elements chart one more time, see if we remember some things from that. More importantly, maybe, we're going to talk, I guess today, a little bit different about the protein needs for your body, and each one of you can do an individual calculation of your own protein needs depending upon your body weight, and then you'll multiply that by 0.37, and you'll determine exactly how many grams of protein you need per day. That's if you're just moderate activity. Now, if you're in a healing process, you'll need a little bit more protein from some kind of surgery or something, or if you extend a lot of energy through some type of training for marathons, or even, let's say you increase your walking from 2 miles a day to 5 or 6 miles a day or something. I mean, your protein needs may be dependent upon your level of activity. So, protein is very important in the body, and all of your organs, your whole body needs protein to keep its optimal function going on. So we'll talk about that today. And then today's menu is chicken Sonoma salad. Extremely healthy. I actually enjoy the version from Whole Foods, but I found it online and tried to make this version even healthier. So you'll find that this particular protein, the chicken, sometimes we consider it maybe a stronger protein than like beans and things that we would get in a typical, maybe some of the more typical lunches we've had. But today this Sonoma salad is combined with grapes and celery, some nuts in there, poppy seed, and a really nice light dressing, which I can share with you as well. We've done another version of a wild rice salad, which I think is kind of fun, cranberries and mint, and it takes on a kind of light flavor. And then Donna Lynn, I think she needs to talk about her garden right here.
I picked fennel this morning and radishes, and we made a raw salad with apple, fennel, radish, and a little lime squeezed on it.
All right, so that's Donna Lynn's fennel garden salad with apples. And of course I've already mentioned Oma's homemade pickles. I'll just say Oma because that's how my mom is tenderly referred to by her little grandchildren. And the book reference today is Wild Fermentations, which I've read pieces of it. I don't actually have it, but if you want to look it up on Amazon and take a look at the table of contents, the man talks about his effort behind the book and why fermentation process has been important through the ages and why it's actually important for our systems. Can any of you guess? I mean, a lot of time, almost every lunch we talk about how important it is for digestion. So the fermentation process and the types of fermented foods that we take in actually help to aid digestion. But it's recommended that it's only a small portion of your plate, so maybe 1 or 2 little pickle slices, and then the rest of it will include your good veggies and your protein and your grain, and so we will enjoy. All right, any questions before we serve it up? Oh, I guess I'm gonna demonstrate a little bit, sorry, about the ginger. An easy, safe way to peel ginger without a knife. It's very easy to just take a spoon and just scrape it along the side of the ginger, and you'll just be able to scrape the peel right off, okay? So that makes a super easy way of peeling ginger. And then in order to make it an easy, you've probably had ginger at when you've had sushi, right? It cleans the palate, right? That's what they say. It cleans the palate, and then you're gonna go try another kind of sushi roll, and you wanna taste what that really tastes like, so you use some ginger to clean your palate. So this quick pickling today involves ginger, and I'm gonna do a slice here along, just make them real thin, long slices. And then what happens with this is we would put it in a bowl and put a little bit of sugar on it. a little bit of sea salt. I'm just going to put it on this tray real quick. We would put just a sprinkle of sea salt, and then you actually let that sit for about 30 minutes. So it takes a little bit of time. You'll put a little salt on that, let it sit for 30 minutes, and then after that you wash the salt off, and you put about a tablespoon of brown rice vinegar, a tablespoon of sugar, and 2 tablespoons of water, and then you let the ginger sit in that for another maybe 2 or 3 days, because the process needs to kind of get in there and do the pickling with time. So salt, time, those are obviously big factors or ingredients or the process for pickling things. And that's a little bit quicker pickling. You can also use ume plum vinegar over, we've done onions in here before, just different smaller pieces of vegetables, but the idea is to give every vegetable or anything that you're pickling a pretty thin slice if you're going to do a quick pickling, okay? Like for instance these, obviously we stuffed the whole jar with whole cucumbers, but it pickled over 6 months' time. So this wild fermentations, and then you can look up other things online about how to pickle things, and just realize that it takes a small little place on your plate, but it's really good for digestion. All right?